When you go to bed at the intercon, do you lie there and go, oh my God, blockchain is about to disrupt my business, oh my God, blockchain is about to disrupt my business? Do you worry about the blockchain really disrupting you guys?
No.
Why not?
I think there is the value in blockchain in the long run. Right now, am I worried about it? No. 5 or 10 years? Yeah, maybe. So do we need to jump on it now in terms to get ahead of the curve? Yeah, potentially we could think about it, but am I going to spend 90% of my time worrying about that? No. I'll spend 10% of my time thinking about innovation and technologies in blockchain that may disrupt media. But the other 9%, I still got to do my day-to-day business and make sure we run it right.
So let me run a thesis past you and tell me, I mean, if I was sitting at the head of Vice, I'd probably be thinking like this. You're in a world now where a centralized organization is only as strong as the number of contributors inside the centralized organization, which is relatively small compared to what the world has to offer, right? You have a new mechanism called a token, and a token can be used to reward contributors automatically. It can be used to get their reputation automatically, so you can automatically understand who the credible people are and who the non-credible people are, and you can reward them, which can give an organization almost overnight with the right network effects. It can give an organization, it can disrupt you and can disrupt a centralized organization in a matter of months or maybe 1 or 2 years. Does that not keep you up at night?
I mean, when you say immediately or 1 or 2 months, I think you're talking very fast, right? Because you said you have to build the credibility. Even if we were to have this token, it's not like everyone here, even if there are experts, everyone's going to know that they're experts. As you said, these are a small group of people, but there's billions of people out there. So the question then becomes is how long does it take to get to the scale where you have individuals that are becoming experts and are credible enough over time? So that's the question. It's like, how long will it take to build that credibility within the network?
So the truest form of that kind of network type disruption was the network type disruption that Uber caused in the taxis. It was real network type disruption because the more drivers there were, the more passengers there were, therefore the more drivers there were, therefore the more passengers there were. It took Uber 2 to 3 years to disrupt a 100 or 200-year-old industry called taxis. Do you not think that with the blockchain, which Uber didn't have, Uber still had to buy cars, train cars, drivers. Here we're talking about someone doing an online course, someone going onto YouTube, and being rewarded instantaneously with a token. Do you not think that it will happen much quicker than 2 years or 3 years?
No, I don't.
Can you tell me that?
I just think Uber, they disrupted the industry, but they still had hiccups for another 3 to 5 years after that, right? And there's still issues in terms of the way that they disrupted the industry. And they're still being facing issues now, right? Because now there's being backlash from government, regulation, all that kind of stuff. So yes, I think there could be a general disruption, and there might be a hiccup, and there might be early adopters that might make the changes or kind of go down this route. But in the long run, it's still going to take some time to get to a point where you can accurately say, okay, this person is credible because he has proven time and time again for a certain period of time across multiple industries, across multiple continents, across multiple platforms, that this person is the highest ranking.
Where do you get your news from, your personal news? When you wake up in the morning and you want to know what the day holds, where do you get your news from?
An RSS feed that comes from all different places. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Vice, obviously.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you. As a YouTuber, what kind of responsibility do you have to your viewers and your potential viewers and the entire YouTube community to make sure that what you report has credibility? And as such, what kind of research do you do before you report something? What is your fiduciary duty to the community?
It's a really great question. The problem with cryptocurrency is that there's so many fake news, and people don't read the newspaper, to be honest. Even if it says that the information is true, like there was a problem with the Bloomberg that talked about the Coinbase and the security and those kind of stuff. And the next day, in Korean news, it said that what Bloomberg said was all bullshit. But in fact, if you read it really closely, Coinbase had the authority to, and they decided to deal with the security tokens on their exchange, which is a very, very big deal. And what I realized is it's very difficult to know if information is right or wrong in cryptocurrency. So what I try to do is most of the other YouTubers try to be very rapid. If there's a news, they just tell the news because with that they get a very high view. But what I do is I rest at least for like 48 hours to see how it develops.
But then how do you know that your content is relevant? In cryptocurrency, 48 hours is a lifetime, man. 48 hours ago, Bitcoin was at $7,600. Today, I think 48 hours later, it's at $7,300.
Because I don't care about the price, it's the main goal. I'm more about education. I don't really care if the Bitcoin goes down, Bitcoin goes up. That's really not my business because if you think about the fundamental of Bitcoin, it's not probable that it's going to go down because there are 21 million of Bitcoin, around 5 or 6 million are lost forever, and there are more millionaires than the Bitcoin exists. So it's very probably it's going to go up. So as the time goes on and as I study more about Bitcoin, as I study more about Ethereum and those kind of stuff, I become certain that the price, like the more I don't care about the price, the better my contents become.
Do you trust traditional news outlets? When you hear a story coming out of CNBC or Bloomberg or Reuters, specifically around cryptocurrency, because your field of expertise today is cryptocurrency, right? When you hear a story from CNBC or Bloomberg on Reuters, being someone that is so close to the ground in cryptocurrency, do you trust what CNBC says?
Not really.
I'm going to ask you the same question.
Well, frankly speaking, I've never watched CNBC on cryptocurrency. Actually,
There's only one show that you should watch on CNBC. It happens on every Monday and Thursday night at 8:30. It's called Crypto Trader. Otherwise, everything else there's no need to watch. When you read, if you wake up in the morning and you read an article from a Bloomberg or from a Reuters or from a CNBC, that there was an exchange hack, in the hack, $150 million was stolen. Do you believe that article, or do you then go and verify it through something that you believe is more reliable?
well, I think it depends on the content as well. So there are certain types of content that's more susceptible of being warped, etc. But in terms of exchange hackings, you know, I would think it's typically more closer to objective than some other stuff. But personally speaking, I would probably just see that as a piece of information to consider or to protect myself, etc. It doesn't necessarily have to be the full and complete truth. I mean, I'm getting value out of it, at least in some form.
So do you believe, and I'm using specifically cryptocurrency because I think cryptocurrency is the epitome of a new technology that maybe old journalism doesn't really understand very well, and therefore their reporting standards are not as good as fellow YouTubers. I personally believe when I watch YouTubers that the level of content that you get from the right YouTubers is much, much more valuable than the level of content that I get from a Reuters or a CNBC. In fact, a lot of my stories are broken by other YouTubers, and only then do we take it onto CNBC. Now that can be indicative of an entire industry, of an entire segment of new industries, which traditional journalists struggle to keep up with the pace. If you watch a show today on CNBC, and I'm using CNBC only because that's where I am, if you watch a Fast Money or one of the other shows, you understand that there are YouTubers and contributors that have much better knowledge of the topic than a broad channel can have. And the question is, in this day and age, with technology working so quickly, do we believe that anyone can procure content?
So in the case of YouTube, I think cryptocurrency is something that's special out of new technologies because it has several different characteristics, right? So one thing is really the lack of verifiable information. Though, okay, you have lack of verifiable information, but you still have a real true news article. Now instead,